Barriers to imposing car-free streets are being lifted following a government decision to enable key workers to walk or cycle more safely. Normally, councils in England that want to close streets to cars must follow procedures that can take weeks to implement. But ministers say councils can now cut red tape governing temporary road closures. And Transport for London, TfL, is looking at the major roads that it controls to see where pavements could be enlarged temporarily during the crisis. Some local authorities, including Hackney Council, have commissioned feasibility studies on relocating space from cars to cyclists and plan to vote on a list of potential filtered streets. Stephen Edwards, the policy director of Living Streets, a charity that promotes active travel, said COVID-19 had underlined the lack of space given to pedestrians compared with the car. He said banning cars from certain roads could help thin out overcrowded pavements and make our daily exercise easier and safer. And a letter from the Department of Transport to councils in England says this is a temporary measure guidance and will be withdrawn once conditions allow. And this is where my concern lies. Whilst I don't have a problem with the policy per se, even though I haven't seen any pedestrians or cyclists jostling for space on our near empty streets, my fear is that certain local authorities will use the pandemic to roll out these schemes permanently by avoiding the usual scrutinising processes. Recognising that the public is more willing to accept government power grabs in times of crisis, autocratic councillors could see the coronavirus as an opportunity to not only censor criticism, but also to undermine checks and balances on their power, much as the war on terrorism was used to justify certain long-lasting restrictions on civil liberties. So the fight against the coronavirus threatens longer-term damage to democratic rule. And my concern was emphasised in a tweet from Sam Hall from the Conservative Environment Network, who remarked, "This is a great idea. The government is now making it easier for councils to close roads to cars to make cycling and walking safer during the lockdown. Councils should be able to keep road closures in place afterwards too, provided they are popular," he said. But let us exercise a little intellectual honesty here. This isn't a question about popular schemes being rolled out. It's about who deems these schemes to be popular. Everywhere, people are scared. Many wish to be led to safety. We shouldn't have to deal with wannabe power grabbers who are looking to use the coercive tools that they have always craved in order, they say, to protect the public, and who we know are absolutely delighted they have such a respectable excuse for banning motor vehicles altogether. This will, of course, if they put physical roadblocks in place, prevent taxi access. Also, the restriction on access will be an impediment to those who have mobility issues, forcing them to use costly, time-inefficient routes. Remember, these schemes will be decided on by people who have never used these roads. As if disingenuous consultations weren't bad enough, and both Tottenham Court Road and the Wapping High Street bus gate are cases in point. The fact is, no one should be in favour of unscrupulous autocrats exploiting the pandemic to grab power at the expense of the people they claim to represent, kissing goodbye to the shrivelled democracy we still possess. There's no lockdown exit from abusive authority control. That's all for me, folks, but if you have an opinion that you want to express and you can avoid using any profanities, or if you would rather that I present the opinion for you, then you can DM me on Twitter at London Taxi Radio. Stay safe, keep healthy, and if you need to ask for help, remember there is no harm in doing so. You will be surprised at how many people are willing to put themselves out. Stay safe, be good, and I'll see you out there on the other side.